AFC Championship time. 49ers at Eagles Sunday. 3 on Fox. Excuse me.
That's kind of gross, buddy.
Those dandelions, actually excellent. Are you giving Purdy a chance to outplay MVP runner-up Jalen Hurts? We'll start with Nicholas Wright. Go.
All right, well, first of all, breaking news, Wilds already has the MVP voting results, so that's exciting. But I think you're actually right on that. I am giving Purdy a chance.
Now you're in on Purdy.
No, he's down on Hurts.
No.
Hey, you said it yesterday. We all know.
Let me explain. I am in on Kyle Shanahan's offense.
Okay.
I'm in on the Eagles' defense being gettable if the offensive line can hold up. We talked about this from the other perspective, but it is true in both directions.
It is.
Both of these excellent defenses can be gotten vertically if your quarterback has time. And I understand Christian McCaffrey hasn't practiced this week, but he said he's going to play. I believe he's going to play. And I think the Niners are going to be able to go run, hit you with the play-action pass repeatedly to open spaces. On the flip side, now this is where everyone gets mad at me. Jalen Hurts, the Giants game notwithstanding, throughout his career, has not played great in postseason games.
Oh, come on.
He's had, what,
college
2?
thing?
I'm including college.
Of course, he has to.
I wonder what he did in high school. Was he good? He probably was
I'm
good.
sure he was great in high school. It's not, guys, but it was every year in college, right? It was his freshman year. He was bad against Clemson in the playoff. And then the next year, he got benched. And then even at Oklahoma, he was bad in the Peach Bowl against LSU. It just was. The very guy, this isn't 30 years ago. This is a few years ago. And then last year, he was bad in the playoffs. And then this year, he combined for 190 yards, but the team was excellent against the Giants. If everyone else wants to say it's a surefire thing that Jalen Hurts against the league's best defense and a chance to go to the Super Bowl is going to play great, again, I like the guy as a person. I have questions. And I think the Eagles need him to be great far more than the Niners need Brock to be great. So I know you guys don't like when I talk about college, but it matters for young players.
Because Vince Young was fantastic in the postseason games in college. I mean, Baker and Kyler Murray were awesome in college. I mean, I don't think that matters. Jalen Hurts has all the intangibles you like. So we're supposed to believe he has all these great intangibles, but he freezes up or melts down in the big games?
No, he's not great against great defenses at any level. That's it. It's not that the moment's too big for him. It's that he has not excelled against the best defenses he has faced at any level. That's all.
Okay.
And the Giants are not one of them. Like that. That's all.
Well, Brock Purdy, look, everybody's talking about San Francisco's defense. You did say they're both excellent. But people got to wake up. Philadelphia's got a great defense, too. I think San Francisco's ranked 1. Philadelphia's ranked 2. And Philly is much better against the pass. We know they got the great, they led the league in sacks by 15. All right, and they got the great defense and they're great against the pass. So I think Brock Purdy, look, last week I'm watching that game and Dallas played great defense. And I'm like, this is where you would really like an elite quarterback with the Niners. Because I was like, Purdy's got to make a play. And he really couldn't. I'm not saying he's not a decent quarterback, but he couldn't make like that big play that they needed.
And that was more Kittle than Purdy.
Right, and so I'm saying I think he's going to be in a position where he's got to make a big play, and I don't think he's ready for that yet. Not against them.
Yeah, there's a chance. I like his poise. I like his composure, Purdy, I'm speaking of. But when you think about what makes him rattle, what gets him rattled, it's pressure. And this is a team that can pressure the quarterback. His numbers, when you pressure him, Brock Purdy, are completely different. Any quarterback, for that matter, for the most part. But Brock Purdy, specifically, a rookie guy, you pressure him. And we talk about all these sacks that the Eagles have been able to put on the stat sheet. It's not even about sacking him. Pressure him. Get him to flush out of the back of the pocket. That will allow you to do everything you want to do and get everything you want to get done as a Philadelphia defense. That's why I trust Jalen Hurts more
I
than
trust Jalen Hurts in a vacuum. To be clear, I trust Jalen Hurts far more than I trust Brock Purdy as an individual player. If you were to drop him into any environment, in this specific game,
Because he has Kyle Shanahan.
because he has Kyle Shanahan, and because I don't think the Niners' offense needs Brock Purdy to play well to hum.
No,
I think the Eagles' offense against this defense needs Jalen Hurts to play well to hum.
But see,
agree with
I
you
do
there.
think they'll need him to hum a little bit in this
game?
Just because they needed him against Dallas. I mean, they won, but.
News this afternoon. The Jets have
is
hired
so fun.
Nathaniel Hackett, former Packers OC and more recently Russell Wilson's fall guy, as their new offensive coordinator.
Hey.
Here's Robert Saleh.
How'd that get in the cop?
Just kept circling back to him. He checks every box that we're looking for. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but really, really excited about this.
Brew, are you buying Rodgers to the Jets? Is it a little more realistic?
I'm not 100%. Oh, yeah, I'm buying it as more realistic. Look, and I'm not going to rip Nathaniel Hackett because he did a poor job, to say the least, in Denver.
I mean,
because we've seen a lot of offensive and defensive coordinators, right, who were great, but weren't great head coaches. So he still can be a great offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know that you hire him right away after a disaster. I mean, maybe you do as like a quarterback's coach or some lower position. I don't know that you bring a guy that's failed so publicly and miserably into your team unless you got a little bit of intel.
Of course
and
they
that
do.
you think, oh. And I tell you what, if Vegas wants to go after Tom Brady first, then I think Rodgers with the Jets, I like it.
Right,
You got
who's
Garrett
really-
Wilson, you got Brees Hall.
Who's really going to follow Brett Favre's entire trajectory?
You know that.
But he might be thinking, I can do what Favre didn't do here and win bigger.
Well, this team is, I think, set up for more success. But if you, this is crazy.
It would be
But as a
nuts.
fisherman, if I want to catch a fish, a big fish, I better have the right bait.
Yeah,
and
Nice.
if you're the Jets, this is bait.
Of course.
Aaron Rodgers, it just makes sense. The relationship, you got to think about who Aaron Rodgers is. If he goes to a situation and it's like no familiar faces, I don't really know anybody. Like that's not really. He needs to have somebody.
And
in
remember
the room.
what Collinsworth told us about why he loved Nat Hackett.
I knew this was
That's what
coming.
he said. During one of those Broncos national television games, Collinsworth was like, and I talked to Aaron Rodgers, and he loved Nathaniel Hackett. And I'm like, oh, he's going to explain how it diversified the offense, schemed it up. He's like, man, he made him laugh, and they played cornhole together. And I'm like, oh, man, that's why the Broncos hired him as the head coach, because he made Rodgers laugh. And now the Jets are like, screw it. They're not going Mike White or Zach Wilson. We got to bring in Rodgers' buddy. It's a great gig if you can get it. Now, I will say this. Aaron Rodgers, there is some delightful irony, not just to the Brett Favre part. But Rodgers the other day on McAfee literally said, people go on television or radio and criticize him because they're in the pocket of Johnson & Johnson and Big Pharma.
Right.
When the Jets are owned by a Johnson & Johnson heir. So Aaron Rodgers might actually be being paid by Big Pharma well before any of the media does. But you know what? I'm here for all of it. I think it is delightful. And
I
get
love
you
to
a
see it.
friend like Aaron Rodgers if you're a Nat Hackett of the world. Where you just keep getting amazing jobs because you might come around. It's an unbelievable gig. And I wouldn't pay Aaron Rodgers $50 million to get a first-round pick for him. But I think the Jets are going to do both. I think at this point it is more like, I don't know what the latest odds are, Wilds, but I now believe Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the Jets next year.
Really?
Yes. Why else are they doing this?
It doesn't make sense any other way.
And
No
even
other
when-
way.
You could have
makes
hired
sense.
a hot young thing to be
And by the way, even when he was with the Packers, with Rodgers, forget everything about the friendship and stuff aside, we all know LaFleur. That's LaFleur's offense.
Of course.
That's LaFleur's calling plays. It's LaFleur's baby. So the only reason you do this is to get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so really quickly, is Nathaniel Hackett a good offensive coordinator? If LaFleur was calling the plays and he didn't do well in Denver, what's the big shining
he had a
star
good
on the
season in
resume?
Jacksonville.
We just told you.
He and Solid coached together.
Besides the cornhole.
This is
The
pure
darts.
honesty. A lot of times, offensive coordinators get the title because they're the next coach up. But the head coach, if you're an offensive guy, you're really calling the plays. I love Joe Philbin. He was not a great offensive coordinator.
Okay.
He's just the next guy up.
Wow.
Coming up
you
next.
ask one more question, and poor Joe Philbin gets astray.
He was relaxing